A ragtag group of aliens crash land their UFO next to a traveling carnival. They blend in with the freak show as they go on the run from pursuing men in black and an alien task force. The only person who suspects they are not of this earth is Billy, a carnie boy. No one will believe him, but he is determined to help the aliens escape. The aliens are a diverse group, each with their own unique abilities. One of them can read minds, another can shapeshift, and a third can control the weather. They are all running from a powerful alien task force that is determined to capture them and return them to their home planet. The men in black are also after the aliens. They are a secret government agency that is tasked with keeping the existence of aliens a secret. They will stop at nothing to capture the aliens and return them to their home planet. The aliens are not the only ones being hunted. Billy is also being hunted by the men in black. They want to silence him because he knows the truth about the aliens. Billy is determined to help the aliens escape, but he is also in danger of being captured by the men in black. The aliens and Billy are on a race against time to escape from the men in black and the alien task force. They must use their unique abilities to stay one step ahead of their pursuers. If they are captured, they will be sent back to their home planet, which is a dangerous and hostile place. The aliens and Billy must also deal with the challenges of living in the human world. They are not used to the way humans live, and they often make mistakes. They must learn to adapt to their new surroundings if they want to survive. The aliens and Billy are an unlikely group of friends. They are from different worlds, and they have different cultures. But they are all united by a common goal, to escape from the men in black and the alien task force. They must work together if they want to survive. The aliens and Billy are on a journey that will take them to the ends of the earth. They will face danger, adventure, and friendship. They will learn about themselves and each other, and they will discover what it means to be human. Cosmic Carnies. Chapter 1, Crash Landing. The starlit sky was pierced by a streak of light as the UFO plummeted towards Earth. Inside the vessel, alarms blared and flashing lights filled the cramped space. A ragtag group of aliens clung to their seats, their bodies shaking from the impact of the crash landing. Bob, a tall and handsome humanoid alien, gritted his teeth as he attempted to maintain control of the ship. Once a guard on the UFO, he now found himself responsible for keeping the group together and safe from the humans and bounty hunters pursuing them. The UFO skidded to a halt in the dense cornfield, stalks shooting in all directions. The heat of the landing made some of the kernels pop, filling the air with the smell of cooked and popped corn. "Are we alive?" Roz asked. Bob looked at the creature strapped to one of the seats with elaborate manacles. He tapped on the translator embedded in skin under his ear. "Alive?" He smirked. "We'll find out when we open the door." "What happens when we open the door?" Roz called after the biped as he worked his way through the pandemonium and reached the airlock door. "Atmosphere," said the alien sitting next to Roz. Her name was Luna. "We're either going to be able to breathe." She left the thread hanging. "Or what?" Roz grunted. "Or explode." "Ready?" Bob put his hand over the panel for the airlock. "Wait," Roz said. "Too late." The door screeched and scratched open with a metallic shriek. Smoky air filled the holding area of the crashed ship and Bob began the task of unlocking each of the alien creatures from their seats. "Get out," he instructed. "But stay close. We don't know how hostile this planet is yet." "At least we can breathe." Luna took a deep breath and began coughing. "It's poison," Roz whined as Bob unlocked him. "Look, it's killing her." Bob nodded toward the door. "Get her out of the smoke. That should help." Roz helped Luna disembark from the crashed ship. The aliens cautiously disembarked, examining their surroundings. The smell of damp soil and fresh corn filled their nostrils, a stark contrast to the sterile environment they had left behind. The group consisted of various shapes and sizes, each with unique abilities that made them stand out. Bob looked around at his companions, giving each of them a reassuring nod. They knew the importance of staying together and staying hidden. Venturing deeper into the cornfield, the aliens stumbled upon the bright lights and lively sounds of a traveling carnival. The enticing aroma of popcorn and cotton candy wafted through the air, drawing the group closer. They cautiously peered through the stalks, observing the various acts and attractions on display. A fire breather enchanted onlookers with his fiery breath, while the contortionists twisted their bodies into impossible shapes. The group was particularly drawn to the freak show, where they witnessed a bearded lady, a man with 3 arms, and a snake charmer captivating the audience. The carnival sprawled across a vast field, its vibrant colors and sparkling lights illuminating the night sky like a beacon of excitement and wonder. The air buzzed with the laughter of children and the chatter of eager visitors, punctuated by the occasional shrieks of delight emanating from the various rides and attractions. A towering Ferris wheel dominated the landscape, its glowing carriages offering a bird's-eye view of the entire carnival grounds. Nearby, the swirling teacup spun with gleeful abandon, while the rickety wooden roller coaster clattered and shook, sending riders on a thrilling journey filled with twists, turns, and stomach-churning drops. The aroma of buttery popcorn, sweet cotton candy, and savory hot dogs wafted through the air, drawing visitors to the bustling food stands that dotted the carnival's walkways. Games of chance and skill lined the midway, their barkers calling out to passers-by with promises of plush toys and other enticing prizes. Dart-throwing stations, ring-toss games, and the classic test-your-strength hammer contraption enticed visitors to try their luck and skill. Nestled in a quieter corner of the carnival stood the mysterious and captivating freak show. The entrance was marked by an ornate wooden archway, adorned with flickering lanterns that cast an eerie glow over the area. A large canvas tent loomed behind the arch, its sides adorned with tantalizing posters showcasing the strange and unusual acts that awaited within. Close by, the House of Mirrors beckoned the curious, its distorted reflections promising to disorient and entertain. The low hum of a generator could be heard in the distance, supplying power to the many lights and rides that made up the carnival's lively atmosphere. As visitors meandered through the carnival, they were serenaded by the cheerful sounds of a calliope playing a merry tune. The bright laughter of children on the carousel mingled with the excited screams from the nearby bumper cars, creating a symphony of joy and amusement. In between the rides and games, colorful booths offered face painting, temporary tattoos, and caricature drawings, adding to the festive atmosphere. Strolling entertainers, from jugglers to stilt walkers, roamed the pathways, delighting the crowd with their spontaneous performances. As the evening wore on, the carnival's energy never waned. Instead, it seemed to pulse with an electric vibrancy, drawing in more and more visitors eager to experience the magic and enchantment of the night. Amidst the dazzling lights, the whirl of the rides, and the laughter of friends and family, the carnival was a kaleidoscope of joy, excitement, and wonder that captivated the hearts of all who entered its gates. Among the carnival goers, a young carnie named Billy was working diligently at his game booth. He was a small, wiry boy with tousled brown hair and a mischievous glint in his eyes. Despite his youthful appearance, Billy had spent most of his life traveling with the carnival, and he had a keen sense for spotting anything unusual or out of place. Billy leaned against the edge of the game, gazing out at the bustling carnival. His mom, Sarah, emerged from the crowd, writing a note in a small notebook. She noticed her son's somber expression and took a seat beside him. "Hey, kiddo, what's on your mind?" she asked gently, putting an arm around his shoulders. Billy hesitated for a moment before answering, "Mom, it's just. Sometimes I get really lonely, you know? I mean, I love the carnival, but I'm the only kid here." Sarah sighed, understanding his feelings. "I know, Billy. I'm sorry you feel that way. But you're great at running the game booth, and I see you making people smile every day." "Yeah, I like making people happy," Billy admitted, a small smile forming on his face. "But it's tough being the only kid around here." Sarah pulled him closer, giving him a reassuring squeeze. "I wish I could do more to help, sweetheart. But you know, our life in the carnival is unique, and it's not easy to change that." "I know, Mom," Billy said, leaning into her embrace. Sarah's expression grew serious as she shared her concerns. "Speaking of the carnival, Old Man Thompson, the owner, is planning to visit soon. We need to make sure everything is in top shape. Our numbers have been low lately, and it's stressing me out." Billy looked up at his mom, concern in his eyes. "What can I do to help, Mom?" "Keep doing what you're doing, kiddo. And maybe we can both brainstorm some new ideas to attract more visitors." Billy's face brightened at the thought of helping. "Yeah, maybe we could add some new games, or even some new acts to the freak show." Sarah smiled at her son's enthusiasm. "That's the spirit. We'll get through this, Billy. We always do." He watched his mom walk away, checking in on each of the game masters, and he couldn't help but feel that something was amiss that night. As the aliens approached the freak show tent, Bob realized that it might be the perfect place for them to blend in and seek refuge. They could hide in plain sight among the unusual performers, at least until they figured out their next move. The group agreed, and they cautiously made their way inside the tent, doing their best to act as if they belonged. Meanwhile, Billy had noticed the peculiar group of newcomers and couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about them. He watched from a distance as they entered the freak show tent, and curiosity got the better of him. He decided to follow them, hoping to catch the strangers in the act of sneaking in. Inside the tent, the aliens attempted to mingle with the performers, trying to act as naturally as possible. Bob, with his handsome human-like appearance, had an easier time blending in, while the others struggled to hide their extraterrestrial features. Unbeknownst to them, Billy was lurking in the shadows, his eyes widening as he witnessed the aliens' otherworldly abilities. He knew that he had stumbled upon something extraordinary, and he was determined to find out more. Chapter 2: Pursuers Emerge. Under the pale moonlight, two separate groups of pursuers arrived at the crash site in the cornfield, leaving a trail of flattened stalks in their wake. First, the men in black, clad in their iconic suits and sunglasses, stepped out of their sleek black vehicle. Their leader, Agent Smith, surveyed the wreckage with a steely gaze. He was a tall, imposing figure with a reputation for being ruthless and relentless in his pursuit of extraterrestrial beings. "Search the area. They can't be far," he commanded, his voice cold and emotionless. Not long after, the alien task force appeared, their advanced technology allowing them to materialize out of thin air. The leader of the task force, Commander Zara, was a fierce warrior with a menacing aura. Her eyes burned with determination as she scanned the crash site, her mind set on capturing the escaped aliens and returning them to their home planet at any cost. "Fan out and find them," she ordered her team, her voice laced with authority and impatience. Meanwhile, at the carnival, Billy was desperate to warn his mom, the carnival manager, about the aliens hiding among the freak show performers. He found her in her makeshift office, a small trailer cluttered with paperwork and brightly colored posters. "Mom, you have to listen to me. There are aliens here, hiding in the freak show," he exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement and fear. His mom, a pretty young woman with a kind smile, looked up from her work, her brow furrowed with concern. She loved her son, but she knew he had a tendency to make up stories. "Billy, we've talked about this before. You can't keep making up wild tales. It's not good for business, and it's not good for you." "But, Mom, I swear it's true," Billy insisted, his voice shaking with urgency. Sighing, she shook her head and sent him away, unwilling to entertain his stories any further. Dejected, Billy knew he had to find a way to prove his claims. Back at the freak show, the aliens were starting to draw attention to themselves, their unique abilities inadvertently causing a stir among the performers and audience members. The mind-reading alien, Zin, listened in on the thoughts of the bearded lady, accidentally revealing her secret crush on the strongman. The shapeshifter, Luna, tried to mimic the contortionist but ended up transforming into an entirely different creature, much to the astonishment of the onlookers. Outside, the weather-controlling alien, Talia, was growing anxious about their situation. In her nervousness, the skies darkened, and a sudden downpour drenched the carnival grounds. The sudden change in weather only added to the chaos, sending carnival goers running for shelter and making it increasingly difficult for the aliens to remain unnoticed. Billy, witnessing the commotion, realized that the aliens were in danger of being discovered. He was determined to help them, but how could he protect them from the pursuing men in black and the alien task force? As he pondered his options, he noticed a figure lurking in the shadows near the freak show tent, Agent Smith, his expression grim and predatory. The stakes had just been raised. Chapter 3: Unlikely Alliances. As the tension in the freak show tent reached a fever pitch, Billy knew he had to act fast to protect the aliens. He had been watching Agent Smith from a safe distance, waiting for the right moment to intervene. Seizing an opportunity, he darted from his hiding spot and approached the menacing figure, his heart pounding in his chest. "Hey, mister. I saw some strange creatures heading that way," Billy shouted, pointing in the opposite direction of the freak show tent. Agent Smith turned to him, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. "How do you know they're the ones we're looking for?" he questioned, his voice low and threatening. Billy swallowed hard, trying to maintain his composure. I just know, okay? They looked like nothing I've ever seen before, and they were acting all weird and stuff. Now, are you gonna go after them, or what?" Agent Smith hesitated for a moment, weighing the boy's words. Finally, he gave a curt nod to his team, and they set off in the direction Billy had indicated. As the men in black disappeared into the night, Billy breathed a sigh of relief. He had bought the aliens some time, but he knew it wouldn't be enough. With newfound determination, Billy rushed back to the freak show tent, where the aliens were struggling to maintain their cover. He quickly approached Bob, who was trying to keep the group calm amidst the chaos. "I'm Billy. I know you're not from around here, and I just helped you escape those men in black guys. I want to help you guys stay hidden until it's safe." Bob studied the boy, sensing his sincerity and courage. He knew that they needed all the help they could get, and this young human could prove to be a valuable ally. "Thank you, Billy. We appreciate your help. My name is Bob, and these are Zin, Luna, and Talia," he said, gesturing to his fellow aliens. "We must devise a plan to evade our pursuers." Together, Billy and the aliens huddled in the dimly lit tent, brainstorming ideas and sharing their knowledge of the men in black and the alien task force. They discussed various strategies, weighing the pros and cons of each approach. Finally, they settled on a plan that involved utilizing their unique abilities and relying on the resources of the carnival itself. As the group began to put their plan into motion, they were unaware that Billy had become a target himself. The men in black, having realized that they had been led on a wild goose chase, were now hunting the young carnie who had misled them. They knew that he had valuable information about the aliens, and they were determined to find out what he knew, and silence him. With the stakes higher than ever, Billy and the aliens embarked on their daring mission, each aware of the immense danger they faced. They knew that they would have to rely on each other and their newfound friendship to stay one step ahead of their relentless pursuers. But even as they forged ahead, they couldn't shake the feeling that the eyes of the men in black and the alien task force were always watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Chapter 4, On the Run. Chapter 4, A Night to Remember. The atmosphere in the freak show tent was electric as the aliens prepared to take the stage, their hearts racing with anticipation and fear. They knew that their plan hinged on their ability to win over the audience and maintain their cover, all while keeping their unique abilities hidden from their pursuers. The ringmaster, a stout man with a bushy mustache and a booming voice, welcomed the excited crowd to the evening's performance. "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the most spectacular show on Earth. Tonight, we have a special treat for you, a group of extraordinary performers the likes of which you've never seen before." As the audience erupted in applause, the aliens stepped into the spotlight, their faces a mix of determination and trepidation. Bob, with his handsome human-like appearance, took the lead, flashing a charming smile that instantly captivated the crowd. "Good evening, everyone," he began, his voice smooth and confident. "We are honored to be here tonight and share our unique talents with you." The act started with Zin, who had honed her mind-reading abilities to provide the audience with an awe-inspiring display of psychic prowess. She asked for volunteers from the crowd, and as they hesitantly approached the stage, she revealed their most profound thoughts and memories, leaving them amazed and confused. Next was Luna, who had refined her shape-shifting skills to create a mesmerizing spectacle. As the audience watched in awe, she transformed into a series of fantastic creatures, a graceful unicorn, a fierce dragon, and even a majestic phoenix that soared above the crowd before returning to her original form. Talia, meanwhile, had learned to harness her weather-controlling powers in a way that delighted and enthralled the audience. With a flick of her wrist, she summoned a gentle breeze that caressed the faces of the onlookers, followed by a light snowfall that blanketed the tent in a layer of pristine white flakes. As the aliens dazzled the audience with their incredible feats, Billy watched from backstage, his eyes filled with pride and admiration. He knew that they had managed to win over the crowd, but he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that the men in black and the alien task force were closing in on their location. After the performance, the audience erupted in thunderous applause, showering the aliens with praise and admiration. As they took their bows, the ringmaster returned to the stage, beaming with pride. "Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our amazing performers. They've shown us tonight that there's magic and wonder in the world if we're willing to believe." As the crowd began to disperse, the aliens and Billy gathered backstage, their hearts racing with adrenaline and relief. They had successfully completed the first part of their plan, but they knew that the real danger still lay ahead. Meanwhile, hidden among the shadows of the carnival grounds, the men in black and the alien task force continued their relentless pursuit, their eyes trained on the freak show tent. They had been watching the entire performance, and they were more determined than ever to capture the aliens and uncover the truth about their unique abilities. The stage was set for a thrilling showdown that would put the friendships forged that night to the ultimate test. Chapter 5, Hidden in Plain Sight. Chapter 5, A Trip to Town. As the carnival prepared to set up for the next show in a new town, the aliens were eager to explore their unfamiliar surroundings. They pleaded with Billy to accompany them, hoping to experience more of the human world while keeping a low profile. Reluctantly, Billy agreed, knowing that he would have to keep a close eye on them to prevent any mishaps or unwanted attention. "Remember," Billy warned as they approached the bustling town, "we have to blend in and not draw attention to ourselves. The men in black and the alien task force are still out there, and we can't risk getting caught." The aliens nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. As they wandered through the streets, they marveled at the sights and sounds of the human world. Zin was fascinated by the conversations she overheard, while Luna couldn't resist playfully mimicking the appearance of passers-by. Talia, meanwhile, was entranced by the changing weather patterns and the way humans adapted to their environment. Despite Billy's best efforts, the aliens couldn't help but draw the attention of the townspeople. Their unusual mannerisms and unique abilities were on full display, leaving the locals both amused and perplexed. However, the townspeople assumed that the strange antics were part of a clever promotion for the upcoming carnival show, and they eagerly followed the aliens as they made their way back to the carnival grounds. Throughout their excursion, the aliens and Billy couldn't shake the feeling that they were being followed and hunted. They quickened their pace, their hearts pounding as they raced back to the safety of the freak show tent. Upon their return, Billy's mom confronted him and Bob, her eyes narrowed in suspicion. "What on earth did you do in town?" she demanded, her voice tense with concern. "We've suddenly got a massive influx of people buying tickets, and they're all talking about some incredible spectacle they saw in the streets." Bob and Billy exchanged nervous glances before Bob responded, trying to sound nonchalant. "We just went for a walk, that's all. Maybe we unintentionally put on a bit of a show, but it seems to have worked out well for ticket sales, right?" Billy's mom sighed, torn between relief and frustration. "Just be careful, both of you. We can't afford any more trouble or attention from the wrong people." As the carnival grounds filled with excited townspeople, the aliens and Billy couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had managed to turn a potentially disastrous situation into a boon for the carnival, and they had won the hearts of the townspeople in the process. However, the sense of being hunted still lingered, and they knew that the men in black and the alien task force were never far behind. They would have to remain vigilant and cautious, relying on their wits and newfound friendships to stay one step ahead of their relentless pursuers. But for now, they could enjoy the brief respite, basking in the glow of their unexpected success and the warm embrace of the human world. Chapter 6, Weathering the Storm. Chapter 6, Shadows in the Night. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the carnival grounds as night fell. The air was thick with anticipation as the crowd buzzed with excitement, eager for the spectacular freak show performance that awaited them. Unbeknownst to them, the real drama was about to unfold away from the spotlight. Billy and the aliens huddled together in the dimly lit tent, their faces grave as they discussed their next move. They knew that their time was running out, and they needed to come up with a plan to evade their relentless pursuers once and for all. "We can't stay here forever," Bob whispered, his voice urgent. "The men in black and the alien task force are closing in, and it's only a matter of time before they find us." Luna's eyes filled with fear as she glanced around the tent, her mind racing with the possibilities. "What if we split up?" she suggested. "It might be harder for them to track us if we're not all together." Zin shook her head, her brow furrowed in concern. "That's too risky. We're stronger together, and we need each other's unique abilities to stay one step ahead." As the group debated their options, the carnival grounds fell eerily silent. The festive atmosphere had been replaced by a palpable sense of dread, as though the very air itself was holding its breath in anticipation of the impending showdown. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the night, drawing closer and closer to the freak show tent. Billy's heart raced as he peered out from behind the canvas, his eyes searching the darkness for any sign of the men in black or the alien task force. In that moment, a figure emerged from the shadows, the moonlight glinting off his sunglasses and the polished metal of his weapon. It was Agent Smith, his face set in a grim expression as he advanced towards the tent, followed closely by a squad of men in black agents. At the same time, a low growl reverberated through the air, sending a shiver down Billy's spine. He turned to see the alien task force leader, Commander Zark, flanked by a group of fearsome alien warriors, their eyes fixed on the tent with predatory intensity. Billy's breath caught in his throat as he realized that they were trapped. The men in black and the alien task force had joined forces, and they were closing in on the freak show tent from both sides. "We have to do something," he hissed, his voice shaking with fear. "They're coming for us, and there's nowhere to run." Bob clenched his fists, his eyes filled with determination. "We'll make our stand here. We've come too far to give up now." As the two groups of pursuers closed in, the aliens and Billy prepared themselves for the battle that lay ahead. They knew that they were outmatched and outnumbered, but they also knew that they had something their enemies did not, the power of friendship and the unbreakable bond that had formed between them. With a roar, the men in black and the alien task force stormed the tent, their weapons at the ready. The air crackled with energy as the aliens unleashed their unique abilities, a dazzling display of power that illuminated the night. The tent was empty, except for the two groups. The aliens they were hunting were gone. Chapter 7, Mind Games. Chapter 7, Escape on the Rails. As the battle between the aliens, men in black, and the alien task force raged on, Billy and Bob exchanged a desperate glance, knowing they needed a way out. In the chaos, they spotted a passing freight train in the distance, its rhythmic rumbling providing an unlikely beacon of hope. "Follow me," Bob shouted, slicing a slit in the tent with a concealed blade. "We'll hop on that train and get out of here." With their hearts pounding, the group sprinted towards the train, their adrenaline-fueled legs carrying them faster than they thought possible. As they neared the tracks, the train slowed just enough for them to leap aboard, scrambling into an empty boxcar and slamming the door shut behind them. Safe for the moment, the group caught their breath as the train carried them away from the chaos they had left behind. In the dim light of the boxcar, the aliens and Billy huddled together, their shared escape forging an even stronger bond between them. As the train rumbled on, they began to share more about themselves, gradually learning to trust one another as they opened up about their fears, hopes, and dreams. They realized that despite their differences, they were united by their desire to find a place where they belonged and to protect each other from those who sought to do them harm. Bob turned to Billy, concern etched on his face. "You should call your mom and let her know you're safe. I'm sure she's worried sick." Nodding, Billy pulled out his phone and dialed his mom's number, his voice shaking as he told her about their daring escape and their plan to meet up with the carnival in the next town. Subplot A: A dangerous pursuit. Meanwhile, back at the carnival, the men in black and the alien task force had regrouped, their frustration mounting as they realized that their quarry had slipped through their fingers. Agent Smith grabbed a carnival worker by the collar, his eyes burning with anger. "You know something about those freaks, don't you? Tell me everything, or you'll wish you'd never been born." The worker, his face pale with fear, stammered out what little information he had. I overheard them talking about their schedule. They're supposed to perform in the next town over tomorrow night." Agent Smith sneered, releasing the worker with a shove. "Commander Zark, it seems we're back on track. Let's pay a visit to this next town and make sure those aliens don't slip away again." With renewed determination, the men in black and the alien task force set off in pursuit, their shared goal driving them to work together in their relentless quest to capture the escaped aliens. As the freight train carried Billy and the aliens further away from danger, they remained blissfully unaware of the impending threat that loomed just over the horizon. They had earned a brief respite from their troubles, but the relentless pursuit of their enemies would soon force them to confront the harsh reality of their situation once more. With each passing mile, the tension between the men in black and the alien task force began to mount, their uneasy alliance threatening to unravel at the seams. As the two groups raced towards their inevitable confrontation with Billy and the aliens, the stage was set for a showdown that would test the limits of their newfound friendship and determine the fate of the entire group. Chapter 8: Narrow Escapes. Chapter 8: Close Calls and New Plans. The morning sun cast its warm glow over the sleepy town as the freight train pulled into the station, its passengers a motley crew of aliens and one young carnie. Billy and the group disembarked, their eyes scanning the unfamiliar surroundings with a mix of trepidation and curiosity. As they made their way through the quaint streets, the group encountered several near misses with their relentless pursuers. At one point, Zin noticed a group of men in black agents lurking near a local diner, their black suits standing out against the backdrop of pastel-colored buildings. "Quick, this way," Zin hissed, motioning the group into a narrow alley. Luna focused her energy, summoning a sudden downpour to obscure their trail and deter the agents from following. Later, as they passed a bustling farmer's market, Billy spotted Commander Zark surveying the scene from a nearby rooftop, his piercing gaze never far from their location. Thinking quickly, Billy gestured to his friends, and they ducked behind a stall selling fresh produce. "Stay low," Bob whispered, using his shape-shifting abilities to blend in with the crowd, momentarily appearing as an elderly woman browsing the vegetables. "We can't let them find us." The group continued to evade their pursuers throughout the day, each alien relying on their unique abilities to keep them one step ahead. However, they soon realized that their luck couldn't last forever, and they needed a more permanent solution to their problem. As they huddled together in a secluded park, Billy broached the subject. "We can't keep running like this forever. We need a plan to get you guys off this planet and back to safety." Bob nodded, his eyes filled with determination. "You're right. We need to find a way to send a message to our people and ask for help." Luna's eyes lit up with excitement. "I might be able to use my weather control abilities to create a signal that can reach our home planet." Zin frowned, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's a good idea, but it will take time and energy to create such a signal. We'll need a safe place to hide while we work." Billy thought for a moment, his eyes scanning the park as an idea began to form. "I might know just the place. There's an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town that we could use as a temporary hideout. We can set up there and work on the signal while we wait for the carnival to arrive." The group exchanged hopeful glances, their spirits buoyed by the promise of a plan that could finally put an end to their endless flight from danger. With renewed purpose, Billy led the aliens through the winding streets of the town, each step bringing them closer to their goal. As they approached the warehouse, they knew that their journey was far from over, but they also knew that they had each other, and that was enough to give them the strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 9, Seeking Sanctuary. Chapter 9, A Desert Sanctuary. As the group settled into their temporary hideout at the warehouse, they began to research potential safe havens where they could live without fear of discovery. Late one night, while poring over maps and scouring the internet, Billy stumbled upon a legend that piqued his interest. "Hey, listen to this," he said excitedly, drawing the aliens' attention. "There's a ghost town in the middle of the desert called Solitude. The stories say it was once a thriving mining town, but it was abandoned when the mines ran dry. Now, it's just a forgotten relic of the past, a place where no one ever goes." Luna leaned in, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Do you think we could hide there? It sounds like the perfect place for us to live without fear." Bob considered the idea, his brow furrowed in thought. "It's worth looking into. If the legends are true, it could be the sanctuary we've been searching for." With renewed hope, the group set about making preparations for their journey to the mysterious ghost town. They gathered supplies, studied maps, and plotted the best route to take them across the unforgiving desert landscape. As they made their way through the barren wasteland, the sun beat down mercilessly upon their backs, its scorching rays driving them to seek shelter beneath the sparse shadows of sagging cacti and brittle shrubs. The parched earth stretched out before them, a seemingly endless expanse of sand and rock that tested their resolve with each grueling step. "Are we getting close?" Zin asked, her voice barely more than a whisper as she wiped the sweat from her brow. "I think so," Billy replied, squinting at the map in his hands. "Just a few more miles, and we should be there." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the desert in hues of gold and crimson, the group finally caught their first glimpse of Solitude. The ghost town loomed before them like a mirage, its crumbling buildings and rusted machinery a testament to the passage of time. As they entered the town, they marveled at the eerie beauty of their surroundings. The wind whistled through the empty streets, carrying with it the whispers of the past, while the stars above seemed to shine brighter than they ever had before. "It's incredible," Luna breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like stepping back in time." Bob nodded, his gaze sweeping over the abandoned structures. "It's perfect. We can make this our home until we can find a way to contact our people." The group set about exploring their new sanctuary, finding places to sleep and store their supplies. As they worked, they spoke in hushed tones, their voices filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Do you think we'll really be safe here?" Zin asked, her eyes flicking nervously towards the horizon. Billy smiled reassuringly. "I think so. Solitude has been forgotten by the world, and that's exactly what we need right now. As long as we stick together and watch each other's backs, we can survive anything." With a newfound sense of hope, the group began to build a life for themselves in the heart of the desert, determined to create a sanctuary where they could live without fear until they were either picked up or left in peace by their pursuers. In the forgotten ghost town of Solitude, they found a haven, a place where they could finally be free. Chapter 10, A Carnival Reunion. Chapter 10, Return to the Carnival. Billy knew he couldn't stay away from the carnival forever. His mother would be worried sick, and he felt a pang of guilt for leaving her to deal with the chaos of running the show on her own. After discussing the situation with the group, Bob agreed to accompany Billy back to the carnival, leaving the others behind to keep watch over their desert hideout. As they neared the carnival grounds, the once familiar sights and sounds filled Billy with a mixture of nostalgia and dread. The bright lights and cheerful music seemed to mask the tension that hung heavy in the air, the result of the freak show's sudden and inexplicable disappearance. Upon their arrival, Billy's mother practically tackled him in a frantic embrace, her eyes brimming with tears of relief. "Billy, where have you been? I've been worried sick." Billy hesitated, unsure of how much he should reveal. "I've been helping some friends. But I'm okay, Mom, really." Her gaze shifted to Bob, her expression a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. "Thank you for bringing him back," she said, extending her hand. "I'm not sure what I would have done if I'd lost him." Bob smiled warmly, taking her hand in his own. "It was my pleasure. Billy's a good kid, and he's been a great help to us." As they caught up, Billy learned of the carnival's dire financial situation. Without the draw of the freak show, ticket sales had plummeted, and they were on the brink of bankruptcy. He felt a surge of determination to help save the only home he'd ever known. Unbeknownst to them, however, danger lurked nearby. Agent Smith, one of the Men in Black's most ruthless operatives, had been tracking Bob and Billy since they left Solitude. He saw an opportunity to strike, and he took it. As Billy and his mother shared an emotional reunion, Agent Smith crept up behind Bob, quickly subduing him with a swift blow to the head. The other carnival workers could only watch in shock as the mysterious Man in Black dragged Bob away, his intentions clear. Billy's mother, shaken by the sudden turn of events, turned to her son. "Billy, who are these people? What's going on?" Billy knew it was time to tell the truth. "They're after my friends, the aliens from the freak show. They're being hunted by both the Men in Black and an alien task force." His mother stared at him, disbelief etched on her face. But in her heart, she knew he was telling the truth. "Then we have to help them, Billy. We have to save Bob and protect your friends." As they hatched a plan to rescue Bob, a chilling message arrived from Agent Smith. "Give up your alien friends, or the handsome one will suffer," the note read. The trap was set, and the stakes had never been higher. Billy clenched his fists, determination coursing through his veins. "We're not going to let them take our friends, Mom. We'll rescue Bob, and we'll save the carnival, too. We can do this, together." With the odds stacked against them and time running out, Billy and his mother embarked on a daring mission to save their friends and their home. The battle had only just begun, and they knew that they couldn't afford to lose. Chapter 11, Double-Crossed. Chapter 11, Betrayal and Pursuit. Bob was held captive in a dimly lit room, bound to a chair and surrounded by the menacing figures of the Men in Black. Their leader, the cold and ruthless Agent Smith, paced back and forth in front of him, his eyes devoid of any emotion. "You know why you're here, Bob," Agent Smith said icily. "We want the location of the ghost town where you're hiding the other aliens." Bob gritted his teeth, refusing to meet the agent's gaze. "I won't betray my friends," he spat, defiance burning in his eyes. Agent Smith smirked, unfazed by Bob's bravado. "We have ways of making you talk," he whispered, nodding to one of his subordinates. The Men in Black proceeded to torture Bob, using a variety of cruel and inhumane methods to break his spirit. Despite the pain, Bob fought to keep the secret of Solitude locked away. But as the hours wore on, his resolve began to crumble, and eventually, he whispered the name of the ghost town through cracked and bloodied lips. Agent Smith's eyes gleamed with triumph. "Well done," he sneered, before barking orders at his team. "Prepare to move out. We're going to Solitude." Unbeknownst to them, Billy and his mother had been tailing the Men in Black ever since Bob's capture. They watched in horror as the agents dragged Bob into one of their black SUVs, and they knew they couldn't let him face this ordeal alone. As the convoy of vehicles sped off into the distance, Billy and his mother followed at a safe distance, their hearts pounding with fear and determination. They knew that they were the only hope for their alien friends, and they refused to let them down. Meanwhile, the alien task force had been monitoring the situation from afar, and upon learning of Bob's betrayal, they moved to intercept the Men in Black at Solitude. As the two groups converged on the ghost town, the stage was set for a showdown that would determine the fate of the alien refugees. Back at Solitude, the remaining aliens had been anxiously awaiting Bob and Billy's return. As the sun began to set, casting eerie shadows across the desolate landscape, Luna's weather-controlling powers began to manifest in response to her growing anxiety. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, the wind howling with increasing ferocity. "Something's wrong," Zin murmured, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We need to prepare for the worst." As the alien group fortified their hideout, the Men in Black and the alien task force arrived at the outskirts of Solitude, their intentions clear. But Billy and his mother were not far behind, their resolve unwavering as they raced to save their friends. With the fate of the aliens hanging in the balance, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of their loyalty, their courage, and their determination to protect the ones they loved. The storm was brewing, both literally and figuratively, and as the first drops of rain began to fall, the battle for freedom was about to begin. Chapter 12, The Safe Haven. Chapter 12, The Battle for Solitude. As the storm clouds churned above the ghost town of Solitude, Billy and his mother crept towards the alien task force's temporary holding facility where Bob was being held captive. Their hearts raced with fear and adrenaline, but they couldn't let their friend down. With stealth and cunning, they managed to infiltrate the facility and locate Bob's cell. He looked battered and weak, but his eyes brightened when he saw them. "Billy, your mom. I never thought I'd see you again," he whispered hoarsely. Billy's mother quickly picked the lock, her hands trembling with urgency. "We're here to get you out, Bob. We need to hurry, the Men in Black are closing in on the others." As they helped the weakened Bob to his feet, the trio made their way through the maze of hallways, narrowly avoiding the alien guards. They eventually emerged into the howling storm, the wind and rain providing cover for their escape. Back in Solitude, the remaining aliens had barricaded themselves in an old saloon, ready to defend their sanctuary against the approaching men in black. Luna's control over the weather had intensified, causing torrential rain and gale force winds to batter the town, making it difficult for the agents to advance. Xin, using her shape-shifting abilities, had disguised herself as one of the agents and was feeding information back to her friends. "They're coming from the east," she whispered into her communicator. "Get ready." As the men in black closed in on the saloon, the aliens prepared for the fight of their lives. Their unique abilities gave them an edge, but they knew that they were outnumbered and outgunned. The battle began in earnest as the agents attempted to breach the saloon's defenses. Lightning bolts, hurled by Luna's command, struck several agents, sending them sprawling. Raz, using his mind-reading powers, anticipated their movements and directed his friends to counter their attacks. Meanwhile, Billy, his mother, and Bob raced through the storm, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. They knew that their friends were in grave danger, and they couldn't let them down. As they reached the edge of Solitude, they saw the battle raging at the saloon. Without hesitation, they charged headlong into the fray, their resolve unshakable. "Mom, help Luna with the lightning. We need to buy more time," Billy shouted over the howling wind. His mother, her face set with determination, joined Luna, focusing her energy on the storm, amplifying its power. Bob, fueled by the desire to protect his friends, threw himself into the fight, his strength and agility giving him an advantage over the agents. He fought with a ferocity that surprised even himself, determined not to let his friends down. As the battle raged on, the aliens and their human allies fought with everything they had, refusing to back down. The men in black were relentless, but the group's determination, bolstered by their friendship and the belief in their cause, gave them the strength to fight on. With each passing moment, the odds seemed to shift in their favor, and the hope of victory began to burn brighter in their hearts. The storm continued to rage, and as the lightning illuminated the battleground, the future of the aliens and their human friends hung in the balance, their fates intertwined as they fought for their freedom. Chapter 13, A Desperate Plan. Chapter 13, The Ultimate Sacrifice. The battle for Solitude had reached a fever pitch, with both sides fighting relentlessly. The men in black and the alien task force pressed forward, determined to capture the alien refugees. But the aliens and their human allies refused to back down, fighting with every ounce of strength they possessed. As the conflict intensified, it became clear that the group needed a decisive advantage to turn the tide in their favor. Raz, the mind-reading alien, came to a heart-wrenching decision. He would sacrifice himself to save his friends. In a brief moment of quiet, Raz approached his fellow aliens, his voice heavy with emotion. "My friends, I have a plan that will save us all. But I need you to trust me." With tears in their eyes, the aliens nodded, knowing that they were about to lose one of their own. Raz turned to Billy and his mother, gratitude and affection in his gaze. "Thank you for everything," he whispered, before taking a deep breath and stepping out into the open. Using his mind-reading ability, Raz connected with every agent and soldier from both the men in black and the alien task force, causing a blinding headache that incapacitated them all. As he maintained the psychic link, the pain and exhaustion began to take their toll on him, but he refused to let go. With the enemy forces reeling from Raz's attack, the aliens and their human allies took advantage of the chaos, fighting their way out of the ghost town and towards the nearby mountains. Bob carried the weakened Raz, his heart heavy with sorrow. As they reached the safety of the mountains, the group looked back at Solitude, where the remaining men in black and the alien task force were still disoriented and in pain. Raz, barely conscious, knew that he couldn't maintain the psychic link any longer. With a final surge of strength, Raz sent a massive psychic shockwave through his connection, causing a devastating explosion that wiped out the enemy forces, including Agent Smith. The blast also consumed Raz, his body disintegrating into a shimmering cloud of energy as he gave his life to protect his friends. The group watched in stunned silence as the ghost town was reduced to rubble, their hearts aching at the loss of their comrade. As they mourned, they realized that they could no longer stay in Solitude and needed to find another place to hide. With heavy hearts, they decided to return to the traveling carnival, hoping that the destruction of the men in black and the alien task force would buy them some time. As they made their way back, they couldn't help but wonder if they were finally safe or if their ordeal was far from over. As the carnival came into view, the aliens and their human friends vowed to honor Raz's sacrifice by continuing to fight for their freedom, no matter the cost. They knew that the road ahead would be filled with uncertainty, but they were determined to face it together, united by their friendship and their shared desire to protect one another. And so, the group rejoined the carnival, seeking refuge in its familiar embrace while they planned their next move, their hearts heavy but their spirits unbroken, as they prepared for whatever challenges the future would bring. Chapter 14, The Final Showdown. Chapter 14, A New Beginning. Back at the traveling carnival, the aliens settled into the familiar surroundings of the freak show, finding comfort in the relative safety it provided. As the carnival moved on to the next town, they began to adjust to their new lives, forming deeper bonds with Billy and his mother. Bob, in particular, found himself drawn to Billy's mom, the intensity of their shared experiences forging a connection that hinted at a blossoming romance. The two spent hours talking, laughing, and sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. The uncertainty of the past few weeks had brought them closer, and they couldn't help but wonder what life had in store for them. Meanwhile, Billy reveled in his newfound friendships, no longer feeling lonely as he traveled the circuit. He remained vigilant, always on the lookout for any sign of danger that might threaten his extraterrestrial friends. But for now, at least, the storm seemed to have passed. As the carnival arrived in the next town, it quickly became apparent that it was a gold mine. Eager to capitalize on the opportunity, Billy and Luna decided to put on a small show in the downtown area, hoping to draw more people out to the carnival. Luna dazzled the crowd with her weather-controlling abilities, creating a spectacular display of rainbows, gentle breezes, and sun showers that left onlookers in awe. As the crowd cheered and applauded, a woman with a disapproving glare observed the spectacle from a distance. This Karen type, her face twisted into a scowl, was not amused by the performance. With narrowed eyes, she watched as the townspeople gathered around Billy and Luna, their excitement growing as they prepared to follow the duo back to the carnival. Feeling a sense of unease, the woman pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Yes, I have something you'll want to see," she said cryptically into the receiver, her voice cold and calculating. "I found them." As the call ended, she slipped her phone back into her purse and turned her attention back to Billy, Luna, and the throng of people. A sinister smile spread across her face as she watched them, knowing that she had just set events in motion that would once again put the aliens and their human allies in peril. Unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows, Billy, Luna, and the rest of the group continued to revel in their newfound sense of freedom and happiness. The carnival bustled with activity, laughter, and the promise of better days ahead. But as the sun set and the stars emerged, the group couldn't shake the nagging feeling that their journey was far from over. As the night wore on and the carnival's lights flickered against the darkness, the aliens and their human friends prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. They knew that their lives would never be the same, but they also knew that they were stronger together, bound by their love and loyalty to one another. Chapter 15, Victory and Sacrifice. Chapter 15, Unseen Dangers. In a dimly lit hallway, an unknown man hung up the phone, his face hardening with determination. He marched purposefully down the hall, his footsteps echoing ominously as he approached a closed door at the end. He rapped sharply on the door, and a deep voice called out, "Enter." The man stepped inside the room, where a stern figure sat behind a large mahogany desk. Without hesitation, he began his briefing. "Sir, I have received credible information about the possible location of the aliens and the boy who's been helping them. It seems they have returned to the traveling carnival. However, there's no word on the whereabouts of Agent Smith." The superior officer narrowed his eyes, a steely glint in his gaze. "You think this lead is worth pursuing?" "Yes, sir," the unknown man replied confidently. "I believe it's our best chance of finding them. We must move quickly if we want to succeed where Agent Smith failed." "Very well," the superior officer said, his voice firm and resolute. "Gather a team and begin your investigation. We cannot let them slip through our fingers again." The unknown man saluted and left the room, eager to set his plan in motion. As he disappeared down the dark hallway, it was clear that the aliens and their human allies were far from safe. Meanwhile, back at the carnival, Luna and Billy sat atop the Ferris wheel, gazing at the night sky after the carnival had closed for the evening. The stars glittered like diamonds, and the air was filled with the soft hum of insects and the distant sound of laughter from the remaining carnival workers. "Look, a shooting star," Luna whispered excitedly, pointing towards the streak of light that cut across the sky. Billy watched, mesmerized, as the star blazed through the darkness, its fiery tail casting a warm glow over the carnival grounds. As the star continued its journey, Luna turned to Billy, her eyes filled with wonder. "Let's make a wish," she suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. Together, they closed their eyes and wished with all their hearts, their thoughts full of hope and dreams. However, as they opened their eyes, they realized that the shooting star was not burning out as it should have. Instead, it seemed to be slowing down, eventually coming to a stop somewhere far in the distance, hidden from view. What was that? Billy asked, his voice shaky with a mix of awe and fear.
I don't know, Luna replied, her eyes wide and her heart racing.
But it doesn't feel right. It feels like danger. As they stared into the darkness, trying to make sense of what they had just witnessed, they couldn't shake the chilling feeling that a new threat was looming on the horizon. Unknown to them, the man who had just received his orders to hunt them down was preparing his team, and the mysterious shooting star's arrival signaled the beginning of a new chapter in their perilous journey. With the night sky as their only witness, Billy and Luna clung to each other, unaware of the unseen dangers that lay ahead. As the Ferris wheel creaked softly beneath them, they knew that their fight for survival was far from over, and that the challenges they would face would test the limits of their courage, friendship, and love.